Hello. Oh, right. Raining in Germany, cold in Romania. Okay, that's very nice. People from all over the world have gathered together today. Okay. Oh, it's freezing. All right. I'm currently in Baku in Azerbaijan, and a couple of days ago we had snow, like real snow. It's very rare out here, but it was very nice. Unfortunately, it lasted only for like 2 days and then everything melted. So now it's just gloomy and gray, but still it's something like +2, 3, so not really cold. Okay, so everyone else will be joining us, and I suggest we get started. All right, so today we're going to talk a little bit about classroom management. A little bit about me. My name is Anna Basrab, and I'm a Cambridge CELTA SLP trainer at International Language Center. For example, I would like to know something about you. So can you please type in the chat city where you're from, school, company, or university you're working at, the age of your students, and number of years you're teaching. So for example, I'll do myself. Okay, and oh, that's the hardest, years in teaching. Okay, so that's about me. Could you take a moment or two and do the same, please? Okay, I've seen people. Okay, so there are people from Romania. Okay, that's nice. It's interesting that last year I visited both Romania and Kazakhstan. All right, that's nice. People from Mykolaiv are here. So quite an international. Oh, wow, interesting. Wow. Cool, that's interesting. Right, so that's very nice. Thank you very much. Very nice meeting you all. So, what we're going to talk about today is, first of all, classroom environment and how it is important and how we deal with it and what we learn during the CELTA course. How to set up tasks effectively. We do teach this on CELTA, but this is a universal. You can do it regardless whether you're taking the course or not. It will be useful for any actually teaching environment, not only CELTA lessons. Our roles as teachers and what our students should be doing at our lessons. and how variety of interaction patterns affects our classroom dynamics. So there will be special time for questions. So can you please, while you are listening, either take notes on a piece of paper, or you can just type the question in the chat, and later on I'll address your questions. Okay, so a little bit of on your side. So what is classroom management in your opinion? What does it consist of? What do we include in classroom management? In your opinion, what is a teacher's role in class, and what is a student's role in class? Could you take maybe 1-2 minutes, type a couple of your ideas, please, in the chat. Okay, so just what your opinion on the topic is. It's your choice. You can address one of the questions. You can put a number and just write what you think. Okay, so that's good. Establish good environment for learning. I suppose that's the first one, or probably could be the first and the third. Mm-hmm. All right. Okay. Okay, yes, Svetlana, thank you very much. Okay, yes, Natalia, thank you. Okay, so I'm sure you've come up with a couple of ideas. So let's talk together then. So basically, it's what you all mentioned. The classroom management refers to a wide variety of techniques that we as teachers use to make sure that learning is productive, effective, interesting, and students are organized and focused in the lesson. Okay, so what classroom management includes? So physical atmosphere and environment. So basically everything around us, how our students interact, how we give instructions, if they're clear or not, the feedback, the way we give it, how we give it, how much teachers talk, and how we monitor the whole learning process. Okay, then, so as teachers, we monitor the whole learning process. Based on that observation, we need to make different adjustments according to our learners' need. We set up tasks and check them, and as Natalia also mentioned, we are observers and we are assistants to our students to make our life easier in the learning process. And for our students, so they should be taking active part during lesson. They should be motivated, they should follow teachers' instructions, and yes, and as someone was mentioned this, environment, they should be responsible. Yes, that was from Dina, that the teacher should develop responsible behavior for students. Yeah, so technically, if we're talking about adults, and that's what CELTA kind of course focuses on, teaching adults, is they should be responsible for their own behavior. With younger learners, yeah, it's more of us maybe encouraging them, reminding them of different things. With adults, since they're more responsible human beings, so they should take more responsibility, but still, at times we need to probably teach them how to, or maybe remind them that their learning process is mostly their own responsibility. We are, as it was mentioned before, assistants. We help, we observe, we provide, but technically we cannot learn for them. That's on their side of the process. So nonetheless, yes, if a teacher is not involved, then the students will not take participation, will not be active participants. So we as teachers are responsible for that. All right, so let's talk about things like physical environment. And now we know that physical environment can be in both contexts, online and offline. I'm pretty sure since 2020, everyone has experienced teaching online, and that it's a bit different, but in a way similar to teaching offline. So let's have a look how it's different and similar. So first of all, we need to think about our internet connection and how it's stable or not stable, and how to maintain it stable, and what to do if, I don't know, your internet connection disappears. Cameras. If your students are working with cameras or without cameras, it actually affects the classroom dynamics, because if you're talking to a bunch of black squares or rectangles, it's a bit difficult, but when you actually see real faces and they can see faces of each other, it changes the atmosphere very much. How much we talk, and if this talk is effective or not. How we give instructions. So in online environment, it's essential, because if you, well, to say, it's essential in both environments, but if we talk about giving instructions in online environment, it's more difficult to troubleshoot. So you need to pay more attention how you give instructions, if you check them, if your students actually understood what they were supposed to do. So when we check instructions, we use ICQs, or instruction checking questions. So they should actually be useful for you, first of all, because you need to know if they understood everything they had to do before, for example, working together in pairs and breakout rooms, because that makes it a little bit more difficult for you to go see how they're doing, and if something's wrong, then you have to troubleshoot. And so it's better to check and make everything work before you actually send them to breakout rooms to do some activities. Okay, monitoring. This one is also quite probably time consuming if we're talking about online classes, because it takes time to enter and leave breakout rooms. Yeah, but we have different means, like we can send our students like a message. Yes, you know, you can broadcast a message. Now with the new version of Zoom, you can even kind of send a voice message, so everyone in breakout rooms will hear, yeah, whatever you want to say. For example, estimated time to finish, or if they need to, I don't know, ask one more question or something like this, whatever you need. Feedback. In online environment, it's essential to not only to check the activity orally as a whole class, but also to support it with some visuals, because someone may get distracted, someone got a, I don't know, a message on WhatsApp, and they were not listening. So if they missed, they missed. But if you support it with visual, for example, your exercise and your students are maybe typing on your screen their answers, or you just simply show it as a PowerPoint and they receive correct answers. Or you can ask your students to write the answers in the chat, or you can provide the answers in the chat. Therefore, the answers will stay there till the end of your lesson. So students can probably copy paste them and use them later, or just refer to them whenever they need. Okay, an important point to take into account is how you share materials. You could either use your PowerPoint, which you can send later to your students, or you can use Mirror as a platform, as a big whiteboard where you can, it's a collaborative whiteboard. You can even ask your students to work together. They can log in there and they can actually do things on your whiteboard. You can share the materials through Google Drive or any other online platforms for sharing materials. If your students are using computers, you can send materials through chat. Unfortunately, it doesn't work for tablets and telephones. So it's still a thing that you need to know, and you need to plan before you actually set up a task. The easiest version is if your students have books and you're using books with them. And or for example, if you're playing different games with your students, like imagine you want to use a board game, online board game, then you should also know if your students know how to share the screen, and if they can open that link or online board game that you've sent them, and that they know how to operate it. So a lot of points to take into account, which we might not had thought about when we were teaching offline. And how you regroup. With breakout rooms, it's pretty simple. It's just you click the button, and the button does it, well, the program can do it automatically for you. Or you can use the function, and you can, I don't know, assign pairs the way you want them to be working together. Or the other option is, well, actually, if an activity consists of two sets of pair work, you can inform your students that at a particular moment in time, you will regroup them. So you will send different people to work with different partners. That's also pretty simple. You just open the functions of breakout rooms, and you just click and send the move students basically to different groups, and they just need to rejoin the breakout room. Well, the variety of activities. So with online, it could be pretty limited. And here we need to probably use our creativity, because if an offline environment, you could ask your students to work at the board, they could do some mingling activities, they could even do running dictations, they could physically sit together. Here it's a little bit limited. So things like using annotation function. When you share your screen, you can ask your students to write something on the board, or to play Pictionary. When one person draws, the other one has to guess what the picture is, or what the object they've drawn is. You can, as I mentioned, you can use board games, but again, you need to think carefully how you're going to set it up, what step, at each step of this task setup, you need to think carefully of. And there's also a possibility of organizing a mingling activity, but that also takes some time to set it up, because if you have, for example, 6 people, you put them in 3 breakout rooms, and then you ask them, you will tell them that only 3 particular people can move around, and 3 other people have to stay, have to always be in the that breakout room. They mustn't leave. And in the functions of breakout room, you let students, you need to flag this little box saying that students can choose their own breakout rooms. That will enable them to move around. So it's possible, it's doable, but again, you wouldn't probably do this on your lesson 1, but somewhere later on the course, when your students are, are used to using different functions in Zoom, are used to moving around a little bit, so they are more comfortable with this online environment. So as opposed to offline environment. So in online, we had connection. In offline, you need your classroom. So, and in your classroom, you need to make sure that you have everything you need. It could be a computer, it could be a smart board, a whiteboard. Maybe you need markers, maybe you need pens, pencils, paper. So if your room has enough air, light, chairs, if they're comfortable. So these are the things that can also probably slightly, or sometimes not even slightly, affect the learning environment. So seating, how your students are seating actually. Are they sitting in a horseshoe, or are they sitting in a, I don't know, at the desks? Maybe it's a round table. If it's possible to easily move your students, if there is enough basically space to stand up and move around. So that's also essential. Teacher talk, well, it should be effective in either classrooms, either online or offline. Instructions, the same. ICQs, it's the same story. So regardless of the environment where you teach, the subject actually you teach, your instructions should be clear, precise. And if in offline environment, it's easier to troubleshoot, because once your students are on the task, you can actually see who is puzzled, who is not puzzled. Yes, it's in their eyes. Or if the students are doing the right thing. Yes, so monitoring helps us. And through this, yes, you can come up to the students, and it's you can fix some, I don't know, or clear some misunderstandings very quickly. Whereas in online environment, it may take some time. So it's essential to check your instructions. And even in offline environment, you don't want your students to feel confused. And that actually also takes up time when you need to troubleshoot. So clear instructions are a must, and monitoring is also a must. Feedback. So with students receiving feedback, you can, with offline, yes, they can see you and they can see other students. They can actually hear what's said because they're only there. There are no extra noises. They're more focused. But you can still write answers on the board. You can give a handout with the correct answers for self-check, or you can give students the answers to others' tasks, and they can peer check. So here it's also essential, but you don't always have to make it visual. With feedback in online environment, especially if it's grammar, vocabulary, any written exercise, feedback should be visual. Okay, regrouping, how you regroup your students. Here, it requires physical movement. And if in online environment, it's just a matter of kind of luck, they don't need to move anywhere, they will just receive a new partner in the breakout room. Here, we need to be a bit, how to say, moderate in the amount of times we regroup our students. First of all, it shouldn't be just one person that moves around the classroom and sits with other students. You can either, if it's a horseshoe, you can either move one person here, yes, and you will have new pairs, or you can pick and choose a couple of people and regroup them. Yeah, but still, it's not a very good idea to do it very often. So let your students speak and work. Could be a group of, could be a pair, and then you can add one more student. There will be a group of 3. It's already regrouping, and nobody has to move. Okay. Variety of activities. So here it's easier. You can ask them to stand up, walk a little bit. They have the physical materials in their hands. Yes, you can ask them to probably do physical matching, words with definitions, or matching pictures with words, or reordering the text. Yeah? They could work at the board if you wish. So it could be like running dictation, or it could be, you know, like Chinese whispers, whatever. It could be your smart board. You can also ask them to move things around on a smart board, and that actually helps you also with with the amount of materials you give, because it's easier to plan. Okay, I'm just going to give this handout to my students and that's it. However, could involve a little bit more of cutting, gluing, and some, you know, handicrafts activities in the teacher's room if you want to adapt something. Okay, so let's get to the instructions. So what's essential when we give instructions? So first of all, it's a very good idea just to demonstrate the activity that you need to do, right? So you can tell your students that they need to open the book at page 57, look at exercise 1, and do the gap fill. And you just ask one student, okay, can you please do number 1? Once the student does it, they have one example, and they know how to do the task. If it's a complicated task, for example, like a human bingo. Yes, when they have a chart, they have 9, for example, questions they need to ask their partners, and they need to walk around and ask the questions. Who, if the answer is yes, they cross out those questions. Once someone crossed out one line, doesn't matter vertically, horizontally, they need to shout out bingo. So it's easier to ask your student to prepare their handouts, or if you have them ready, you give them those handouts, and you invite a student, and you demonstrate it with the student right away without giving worded instructions. It will be easier. After that, you can ask your ICQs and see how it, if they got it. Okay, so your activity has to be logically staged. So you need to think what, so if it's a gap fill, so you know, okay, so first they need to like open the book, look here, do this, do that, then pair check, and then we check together. It's pretty easy. But if you want to do something like human bingo or a running dictation, something that involves several stages, or it could be interviewing their partners, but before that they need to prepare some questions. So think what they need to do first, yes, step by step. It's an easy thing to do if you do it yourself first. Then you will know every step your students need to take. Actually check understanding. So focus on the crucial moments of the activity. So not something that if they need to sit down or walk, but something more like how many, again, let's take the human bingo example. How many boxes they need to cross to say bingo? If they need to answer about themselves, or they answer about somebody else. So the crucial points that will actually help them do the activity effectively, rather than how much time they have and how many people, or if they speak only to one person, which could also be essential in some activities. Use simple language. Imperatives. It's the best way to give instructions. Just stand up or open the book, look at exercise 5, do this, do this, do this. Okay, so as I already mentioned, know your task. So you need to know what they have to do. Sometimes it's easy when you take a supplementary material book, you open the handout and you know what is required to do. Sometimes you open it and you have absolutely no idea what the authors meant by that activity. So read the instructions yourself. You can always adapt things, you can always change things, but you need to know how exactly you want them to do the task. If you're not sure, you can always script and practice. That's a good thing to do. You don't have to maybe even script and practice, but you could probably just go step by step in your head. You can practice with your friends, you can practice with your colleagues. Sometimes I've had candidates, they practiced with their own children and with their own husbands and wives. So those people were also active participants on the course. Okay, so position of the students. So if they work first individually, maybe then in pairs, if they need to sit down, stand up, if they need to move before your activity. Or maybe they need to move somewhere in the middle of the activities. First they, for example, interview one person, then you either clap or you inform them somehow, and then they need to choose another partner, or you regroup them yourself. So, but still, it's also an essential thing so that your students know who they work with. Task before text. It's also a crucial thing, because if you give your students, if it's offline environment, if your students are looking at your handouts that you've given them and you're trying to give instructions, they won't be listening to you because they will be reading what's written on the handout. So first, you tell your students what to do, and then you give the materials. The same thing here in online environment. First, you share the screen, you show what has to be done. You ask ICQs, maybe you demonstrate a task with someone, and then you tell them what page probably it is, or you send them a link to Google Drive where you have your handouts, or you send the handouts through chat. Again, your choice. And what's it's my colleague's term, creeping death. So when it comes to feedback, and your students are as in any class, some students are more active and stronger, some students are quieter, maybe shy, maybe they're a little bit weaker. So in order not to create this atmosphere of creeping death, do not nominate one by one the way they're sitting. The last person sitting over here will either not be listening to or paying much attention to what's been said before because it's not their turn to speak, or they may just simply cheat and not or copy the answer from the partner because they know they will be asked only about the last one. Or the creeping death element is when they know they don't know, for example, the last answer, and they're the last to answer. And you put them in a situation when, like hopeless situation, they don't know what to do. So in order to avoid this, you just randomly ask your students, whoever you want. You always know who the stronger, who the weaker is, and which question to ask your students. Maybe someone stronger can answer the more difficult question. And the weaker one can probably take the easier one. Therefore, they will feel appreciated, and they will know that you pay attention, and they will feel more confident. Sorry. Right. So now a little bit from you. What do you think? Can you, in the chat, I will show you a statement. Can you put plus for yes or type yes, minus for no, and if question mark for maybe? Okay. So is it a good idea to point using your finger to the student if you want them to speak? Just briefly in the chat. Okay, okay. Okay. All right. So, technically, using your pointing finger, no. But if you want to address your students, you would open your palm and you would say, okay, what do you think? Yes, using your hand, like a full hand. Okay, how about this? You should maintain eye contact with students at all stages of the lesson. Different opinions, that's very nice. Okay, I'll reveal the answer. No. Because it's physically impossible to maintain eye contact 100% time of your lesson, because your students need to do some reading or some exercises. They will be speaking to their partner. So logically, you won't look at them all the time. You won't maintain eye contact. And in normal real life, you do not always maintain eye contact with your student, with people you talk, yes, people you meet, yes. Sometimes you look at them, but sometimes you get distracted. So normally, if you just reflect a little bit, you will see yourself that you do not always look at your students, yeah, like this. So it may even feel a bit intimidating. Okay, how about this one? You should plan your whiteboard in advance. Of course. At least maybe not like everything you're going to write, but you know, okay, left hand side is for words. Here the main part is, for example, for grammar. At the bottom I will leave some space for error correction. So here there will be pictures, so at least you know at what time you will erase things, what you do not need to erase, so what you will keep on board. Okay. How about walking towards our students? Of course not. Yeah, especially if you're working at university and you have like a huge hall, um, and you don't need to walk towards your students. It's enough just to turn around and maintain eye contact and see if that student you're addressing is looking at you. Also, you would always use your student's name, and your student will know if you're talking to him or her. Hmm? Okay, how about this one? Mm-hmm. Okay, interesting. All right, let's see if the opinion matches. Actually, you do not need to repeat yourself. You can ask that person to say that again. Yeah, so it's not you who repeats, it's the person who was saying needs to repeat that. Because a little point to remember for the a bit later on the go. We'll talk about it. Okay, this one. So they say, oh, could you be some kind? Oh, I'm very sorry to interrupt. I'm please. Yes, with the no, you don't have to do that. Super polite, extra polite. No, you can just say, okay, could you please work with this student now? Or could you please stand up and work here? You also know if you take it moderate, if you move different students at different time of the lesson, then you won't have to kind of you won't feel guilty for doing that and moving your students. So if a student needs to move during lesson maybe 2 times with one person, then it's possible that they will feel comfortable and you will feel comfortable and everything and everyone will enjoy that. Okay, same level of your voice during the lesson. Okay, so actually, no. If you keep speaking like this all lesson, at some point your students will fall asleep. Monotonous speech, yeah, it kind of soothes your students and they will start falling asleep. The thing is that at some point you need to stop an activity and to be able, imagine it's mingling. They are busy talking and walking and laughing, discussing something. How are you going to stop an activity without, for example, raising your voice a little bit? So it has to change. Yeah, you sometimes can speak quieter, yeah, or sometimes you will need to speak a bit louder, maybe sometimes faster, maybe slower. So it's essential to keep it different so your students will be actually listening because they know something will change and you're saying something. How about this one, using dictionaries? That's interesting. They all vote, almost everyone votes against. Technically, it's a maybe. So if your students need to use the dictionary, why not? Maybe they have nowadays, they on your telephones, you can have a kind of faster access to dictionaries. It's not this huge Cambridge dictionaries and they have to flip the pages to find a word. Nowadays, it's easier. So why not at some point they can use their dictionaries whenever they need to. So I don't see anything bad. The other kind of downside of this is that they will always be in those dictionaries kind of checking every single word. So probably at some point you can let them use those dictionaries. At some point you would probably ask them to still be kind of in class and try to use the context of the text or your explanations or their partner's explanations to still try not to be over reliant on the dictionaries. Okay. How about this one? Asking your students after giving instructions, do you understand? All right. All right, that's very nice that we're all on the same page. It's a no. It's a no because your students may understand every single word you say, but they may not understand the concept of the activity. And with ICQs, we check the concept of activity. Yeah, what exactly they need to do, how they're doing the task. Yeah, not what you're saying. So that's an essential thing because that question is not going to be the answer to that question is not going to be very informative for you as a teacher. All right, and how about this one? Interesting. All right. So online environment, well, we're not walking. We just move from room to room. So that's one thing. If your students are doing the exercise, technically, we do not have to walk. We would probably give instructions, do one kind of round. We have a look if they are on the task, and then we can sit down. If it's a listening task, then we'll probably still need to sit down because you may distract your students from the text. and they won't be able to come back. And later, when you kind of feel that they're finishing, yes, you can also stand up once and have a look how much, yes, they finished and when to stop the activity. But you do not have to constantly walk around them. Yes, again, it may feel a little bit intimidating. Right. So, any ideas on that question? So what is TTT? Yes, Natalia, thank you. All right, yeah. Okay, good. So TTT, teacher talking time. In this, it could be a different acronym for different in different situations, but in this case, teacher talking time versus student talking time. So, any ideas what teachers do to increase their teacher talk? So, for example, first of all, we repeat our instructions. We repeat what our students said. We echo their answers. We may answer the questions for our students. One teacher can ask a question and answer the question without letting the students answer the question. You may also do their cold running commentaries when you comment on everything you're doing. Oh, now I'm going to take a pen, now I'm going to write on the board. No, that's all, everything that increases our teacher talk, and that's not effective. There is effective teacher talk when your students need to hear you. It's when you give instructions, it's when you explain something, it's when you comment on something, it's when you give feedback on tasks. So that's effective teacher talk. So number 3, why do we want to decrease teacher talk and how we can do it? Any guesses? Maybe an idea or two? So who needs to speak in the lesson, teacher or the student? Or students? Of course, students. Yeah, so they're there to learn English. They're there to practice it because you know the language. Yeah, it's their time to speak. Right. So we give a chance. Okay, so very nice ideas. We give a chance to show themselves. So let them speak. Yeah, basically we increase the time to speak. So how we can do it? We give short and clear instructions. We include pair work, we include group work. We may even provide our students with answers so they can peer check. And then ask you the questions. We ask we ask them concept checking questions. Yes, we ask them elicitation questions. Yeah, we elicit from students. Yeah, so we want them to speak more in the lesson. Okay, to change this at the procedure. Yes. Or why not? All right. So why can teacher talking time or quality teacher talk be a good thing in the classroom? So what's good in our teacher talk? Why do students need to listen to us? What's useful in our talk? Okay, very good answer. They hear correct grammar answers. Yes, material. So they actually hear, well, the explanation, like simpler explanation than probably in the book. Yes, feedback, instructions. Yes, you're absolutely right. So you are a model, a language model. Actually, they will develop their listening skills as well, because different teachers speak with different accents, different kind of types of language. Yes, so different. So we all speak differently, and when teachers change, students get exposure to different Englishes. Yes, let's put it that way. So that's also a good thing to do. They will develop not only like language knowledge, but also their skills. And yes, very good. Yes, you are the one who organizes the whole thing in the lesson. Right. So how variety of interaction patterns actually changes our life. And okay, so could be pair work. Yeah, we kind of talked a little bit. So students should work in pairs, should check in pairs, yes, before you collect feedback. They can do group work. It's also a good idea. It's easy, it's organized easily because pair work can be just done automatically. For group work, you just move a couple of people and create groups. Mingling, we've talked about mingling. It's doable, but it might be a little bit challenging to organize, but still, when you have some time, try it out. It's a nice thing to do. May not work from the first time because students may get confused, but the essential thing is that there's always has to be someone in a breakout room. You shouldn't leave it empty. And regrouping in this case is very easy. We've talked about it. So you just flip people or throw people around, and they will just click a button and they will be regrouped. And it's not so probably annoying as it may be in offline environment. So the same thing here, offline pair work included different speaking activities, pair check, maybe doing a task together as well. Group work, again, if you have a class, it's possible, yes, to add one person on the left, on the right, and create a group. For mingling, yes, sometimes it's like, oh my God, we're tired, we're after work, we cannot stand up. It's a good thing to stand up and stretch legs at least once in a lesson, yeah. But do not overdo it. And as for regrouping, again, monitor your students, see who likes being moved, who doesn't mind being moved, and who doesn't want to be moved, not to kind of force students to doing something they do not want to. You can simply just ask this person to turn left or turn right, and then they will have a new partner or work in a different group. So, time for questions. Do we have any? Okay, in the meantime, maybe you're typing your questions, so I'll give it some time. I'll just general information include general information. This is all our CELTA Delta, well, not all of them, but some of them. Some of our CELTA Delta courses, some of them online, you can see, some of them offline. They've all been very successful, and people had a lot of fun. If you want to follow us, you can get some information on our website, on our Instagram page, Facebook page. Yes, we've got useful materials sometimes there, useful ideas, some practical things. We also share the books that we as trainers like to read and our teachers like to read. So that's always maybe something you will find useful. Okay, our upcoming courses that we have this year. So part-time online CELTA, starting on the 27th. Delta Module 2 has already started, sorry. And online Delta Module 1 preparation for the exam is also starting in March. Again, you can follow the QR code for prices. And since you've attended this webinar, we've got, and you've been probably thinking about taking a CELTA course. So this is just the one-time offer, late early bird discount for our upcoming CELTA course, the one that starts on the 27th. If you register till the 21st of January, you can get discounts. So for you Ukrainian residents, the price will be 30,989 UA hryvnias, plus the certificate. And for residents of other countries, it will be $1,000 and also plus the certificate. When you register, if you decide to register, use the promo code of late early bird and join our wonderful course. Okay, just have a look if we have any questions. Okay, have you ever tried Miro? If yes, how easy is it in terms of classroom management and how effective is it? Actually, I teach with Miro. I like it very much because it's pretty easy. You can put everything there. You can even create activities. The only thing that I do not do is my students do not log in to Miro. So we just purely use it as a board. And if they need to write something, I give them the remote control of my computer and they can do the typing on the board if I need to. On Miro, or they can use an annotate function. They type some answers on my board, but mostly it's been very useful. I like it because you just move around. If you need to see something, it's pretty easy to use. You just try it out once, Natalia. You will see it. It's a very nice one. I think I might be wrong, but I think we should have on our YouTube channel, we should have a webinar on how to use Miro. One of our that's a very interesting comment from Natalia. Sometimes students expect it to be endless. Yes, they think that that teachers should be talking, but actually sometimes we need to even educate our students and tell them no, it's actually your turn to speak and you should be speaking, and not to me only, but also to your partner. So that's sometimes that we need to tell our students kind of to educate them in a way in the with the how this methodology, yes, what we kind of communicative approach, how it works, and that it's quite an effective approach if they want to learn how to speak. Okay, so let's have a look. All right. So the very last thing, ladies and gentlemen, this is the link to the certificate. I'll drop it in the chat as well. So you can download and then you can fill it out with your name over there. Okay, so as far as I can see, we don't have any questions. So thanks very much for being today. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for being very active. That's also an important thing on a webinar. Enjoy your weekend. Have a lovely day, and I hope to see you one day, perhaps on one of our courses. Okay. So thank you very much. Have a lovely day. Bye-bye. Thank you. Bye-bye.